What's up, fight fans? T-John here. Thank you for joining me again. Greetings from the Russellverse. You already know what time it is, baby. It's time to get in the mix. All right, so man, today we're going to be talking about the Bellator 273 event. Unfortunately, it kind of got overshadowed, not kind of, it definitely got overshadowed by the Royal Rumble event this past weekend. Everybody was looking forward to that, unless you were really, really big into the MMA scene. Um, Honestly, before we get into it, I really wish that, the combat sports, like just media team in general, will kind of collaborate more instead of like competing so much for that airspace because this was a really, really great event. And I mean, so was Royal Rumble. No offense to, WWE and the event that they put on, but I just feel like it'd have been so much better if we could all just been able to sit down, watch both events. But hopefully we see that more in the future. But overall, it was a great, great event. So getting started with the prelims, man, the prelims were amazing, guys. Like I absolutely adored how the preliminary rounds came out. Like these matches were great. We saw a lot of new guys come in. It was just awesome. I really enjoyed it. So starting it off with Sullivan Cawley and Ben Parish. Now, Sullivan Cawley is more of like the new guy. I mean, you can see it in his record right there. He really he's pretty new to the scene, but he put on a fantastic performance. I mean, he took Ben Parish to work, as you can see here, laid off some devastated ground and pound early. Really took it to him, man. He really proved himself, and he got the TKO relatively quickly, just, like, really put a beating on him. You see he's clean, like, it wasn't even really a competition, man, so for him to be just, like, starting out, getting his 3rd win ever as a pro, like, this was a fantastic start. He's on a good streak, man, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he puts up into the promotion, man. It was very, very good to, like, this is just a really good start, I'm very happy with him as a fighter so far, man. So keep it up. Definitely keep it up. Next, we have Lucas Brennan versus Ben Lugo. Now, this was a match really that I don't even know how to explain it. It was just really interesting. You have Lucas Brennan, who's extremely young. He's 21, already has a 5-0 record, going against 32-year-old Ben Lugo, and Ben Lugo is not one to be slept on. Like even though he's 5'4", he's already he's proven himself as a legit competitor in the sport. So Lucas Brennan really had a challenge before him, but man, he stepped up. Only 21 years old, guys, and look at the dominant performance that he put up. Just the result here. He had a head and arm choke, got it in pretty quickly, pretty swiftly, and almost put the man to sleep. Put almost like Ben Lugo had no choice but to tap. Honestly, it was either that or go to sleep. So I was extremely impressed with um with his performance this time as well. So, this submission game is not one to be, disregarded, man. We got to pay attention to these guys who have serious jujitsu skills because I mean, that's what's really got him on his hot streak. I think 5 wins so far out of his now 6-0 record is from submissions. So this guy is dangerous on the ground. And I mean, we can look forward to him evolving his game more in the stand up, but don't fix something that's not broke, man. Like keep going, definitely. So, like as I said, like he got the dub, so that was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how he comes into his own. He's only like I can't believe he's only 21, man. Like that's really awesome for him to already be on this streak and really proving himself in Bellator. Like you can expect him to make a big name for himself in the like later down the line. But next we had Nikita Makailov versus Blaine Shutt. Now this match was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. We got to see Nikita really come out swinging. Like I think the first punch he put Blaine Shutt down. It was kind of crazy, but Blaine Shutt really gained his composure. He's really like comfortable on his back. Most of the fight, he was on his back trying to like get some jujitsu going. He even put Nikita in a and a pretty nasty guillotine, I gotta say. And somehow Nikita was able to get out and just keep being dominant on the ground. Like he didn't let Blaine really get anything going on the ground, any kind of submission. He just wriggled right out of, put a pretty nice dominant performance in the ring, and it's like showed off his ground game. Now the third round was huge. Like it was like a big shock because Blaine showed something that we haven't seen in a minute, and that's some striking power. Really put Nikita back on his heels, like just hit him with a nasty left hook, put him down for a second. And I mean, Blaine was obviously down on the cards, so he knew he was going to have to get a big finish since the ground game wasn't working. He wanted to keep it up on the feet, and he let him know that. He was like pointing, like, "Yeah, let's do this right in the middle of the ring. Let's get it on." Immediately regretted it. Immediately regretted that decision. I mean, Nikita hit him with another powerful left, put him down. But I don't blame Blaine Shutt. He had to do something. He had to make something work, but he just was not ready for the stand up that Nikita had for him. And unfortunately, it led to him getting ground and pounded into submission, lost by TKO. Nikita came out with the win, and it was well deserved, man. I'm really proud of Nikita with that win. It was just a dominant performance by him. He clearly is ready for more challenging opponents. Not speaking bad on Blaine Shutt, like I said, he did what he had to do. He was doing everything that he could, but it just wasn't enough. So I mean, kudos to Nikita, man. I look forward to seeing you step up into more challenges in your division, and we'll see what you can do. But next up was Dalton Holsta versus Dwayne Johnson. Now, Dalton Roaster really just outclassed Dwayne Johnson pretty efficiently. Like it wasn't really much that Dwayne Johnson got going. This fight was mainly on the feet. And I mean everything that Dwayne Johnson threw at him, Rosa had an answer for. So it was an impressive fight to see. I mean, as you can see, it did go on the ground, but it was because of Daniel Rosta himself bringing it to the ground, had a dominant performance on the ground and on the feet. And I mean, he was celebrating at like 4 minutes left into the third round. Final round, he's already like he knows he won. It was getting into Dwayne Johnson's head a little bit, but I mean, there was nothing that Johnson could do. He just had to sit there and, and take this loss, man. So I mean, it gives all credit to Roaster and his preparation for this fight, man. Everything came together as it was supposed to. A dominant performance by him. Another guy, can't wait to see how he does with his future fights in Bellator. It'll be just really, really cool to see these new guys, man. It was like I said, the prelims were full of excitement. It was nice to see some new faces, and I'm really excited to see where these new guys go because I mean, it's about that time, and we need some new guys to come in and fill up these spaces that of the people that we're so used to seeing. I mean, everybody has to deal with age and time not being on their side. So I'm glad to see this influx of new guys coming in. It's refreshing. It's really refreshing. But coming in, this guy actually has my last name, Sahed Awad. Now I say Awad, that's my last name. But I was rooting for him going against Chris Gonzalez. And I mean, as you can see, Sahed is like the superiorly experienced fighter. Had way more experience than Chris Gonzalez, but that did not matter at all. I mean, the fight was over right when it started, man. It was rough. Like as soon as I started rooting for him, Chris Gonzalez then put this man out with a devastating kick to the head, just round kick, bang, right on the button, put him down. There was nothing that Sake could do. It was pretty rough to watch. But I mean, kudos to Chris Gonzalez, man. That was a stand-up performance. It was an amazing way to come back from a loss. He actually lost his last fight. So what better way to bounce back and start off the year than taking out somebody as experienced as his opponent was? So we'll see how like he carries this momentum into the year, but an impressive showing, an impressive, impressive showing. Next was Darion Caldwell versus Enrique Barzola. Now, this match, if you weren't really into MMA, you probably wouldn't want to watch it. But for somebody like me, I really had a great time watching it. It was a lot of wrestling. A lot of wrestling. These two guys clearly have a lot of wrestling experience in their repertoire, and they pulled out no stops. I mean, Enrique really kind of was the superior wrestler in the beginning, but Darion Caldwell has, I believe he has a few NCAA state championships in his belt. So for him, he really kind of like endured the storm in the first round, then came back and started putting a beat down on Enrique a little bit. I mean, the fight was still pretty close. It could have gone either way for most of the fight, but I mean, he was really taking it to Enrique for most of the fight. As you can see, he did a really nice spinning elbow, caught him right on the chin, but Enrique just took that. But after a while, it was kind of starting to show that Darion Caldwell was taking over in the points. Like if this went all the way, that it was going to be Darion's fight to lose basically. But Darion then started getting kind of lax, and after a weak takedown attempt, um, Enrique just jumped on him, man, and just hit him with like some devastating ground and pound. I mean, Darion Caldwell was clearly gassed, but I mean, all he had to do was protect himself, and he would have probably won the fight. But he just was trying to wait out the clock, kind of, take his breath. He knew the fight was probably going to go his way, and unfortunately, he just was down there. He wasn't protecting himself, and the ref had to step in. So, it was a little controversial of a win, but like Enrique deserved that win. He did what he needed to do to win that fight at the end. He knew he needed to stop. He knew he was probably down on the cards. And Darion made the unfortunate mistake of coasting. You never want to coast, especially that hard. And I mean, that was a lesson that he had to learn, still relatively new in both of their careers. So it's not like he can't bounce back. And I would love to see them go again. But Darion needs to, he needs to understand from now on, man, even if you're winning and up on the cards, it's never too late to lose. So don't coast, never coast. That's always a bad thing to do. So hopefully he learned that lesson pretty well. Next up, we had our first, I guess, our main card startup, and it was between Saba Hamasi and Jaleel Willis. Now, these two had some really good trades in the beginning. Like, it was a nice little scrap in the beginning, I gotta say. Like, these two, they were just like sizing each other out for most of the fight until Hamasi got this nice head and arm choke. And almost again, another guy almost got put out. Like Jaleel Willis, like he had no choice but to tap. It was just a really tight choke. I believe it ended the first round as well. But oh man, it was a tough choke. So good on Hamasi, who I believe is also coming off of a loss. So another guy starting off the year right with a win, looking to bounce back. So I mean, main card, this was a great way to start the main card. Kind of showed everybody what we could expect, and Hamasi, he looks like he can do some damage, man. So I like to see what he does with his nice little mixed martial arts background that he has. And then we had Henry Corrales versus Aiden Lee. Now, these two were also a really nice scrap that they had. I really enjoyed their match. It was pretty even for most of their fight. It really could have gone either way. I mean, Henry Corrales was really dominant on the ground, really had a lot of wrestling clearly in his background. And I mean, but these two were like slugging, man. Like they were trying to put each other out. It was just, I mean, you can't really tell from the slides, but man, it was even. You couldn't say that one was winning more than the other. Aiden Lee has a lot more of a reach advantage. So he was able to like if you see him like making a lot more backpedaling and moving, it was because he's trying to get that reach advantage, and which he was. He was tagging him, really had some good kicks, just really using his lanky size and his stature. And Henry Corrales did what he needed to do, just bully boxing, wrestling, chopping those legs. It was a well fought fight from the both of them. Unfortunately, though, the fight came to a halt in the third round. You can kind of see it there. There was an eye poke from Henry Corrales. He poked the left eye of Aiden Lee, and that unfortunately ended the fight. He couldn't continue. They were trying to get him to, like he used all of his time trying to get that vision back under control. And unfortunately, he couldn't, and they had to call the fight. So it wasn't a disqualification. They still let it go to unanimous decision, which I liked. They just kind of negated the third round because it was so early still in that third round. But before we get to that decision, man, like I would love to see them do it again. They have to fight again. There's no way that either one is satisfied with how that fight ended. Like they just can't be. You don't ever want to see a fight end prematurely like that with one guy not clearly winning if it's not going to go to the judges, if it's not going to go to the cards. So, unfortunately, we saw, oh, sorry about that. We saw Henry Corrales get the win by unanimous decision. He still was up on points according to the judges. Like I said, I think it still could have gone either way. I'm not mad at the decision. I'm glad that they came to a decision, but um yeah, I definitely think that they should run it back immediately. They have to finish this fight before either one of them moves on to their careers. This is unfinished business, man. And, I hope Aiden Lee is able to recover and, they get this back on as soon as possible. But next, we had a awesome fight. Like this one was probably the fight of the night, if not the main event was. So Benson Henderson, the legend, man. I mean, we've seen him forever. Benson Henderson versus up and comer Islam Mamedov. Now, this was a huge, huge fight. You saw Islam was coming in with his promising career. I mean, he's on a crazy win streak right now. And Benson Henderson is actually was on the longest losing streak of his entire career. So this was a really big fight. This was a chance for both to really prove themselves to see who was, I wouldn't even say who still had it, but Benson Henderson had to prove that he was still able to compete on such a high level in MMA, and Islam Mamedov just wanted to prove that he was ready to step up into into that contender kind of role because he was just one spot under Benson Henderson, and like I said, he was on a huge win streak. Now I gotta say, man, it's always awesome to see Habib in somebody's corner and watching him be so impassioned as a coach. I actually really loved. It was kind of awesome to see that. I enjoyed that pretty well. And Henderson showed a lot of, experience because he has a whole lot of experience and he put Islam in a very nice guillotine. This was really a match of submissions for most of the fight. I mean, these two were going back and forth, and you're about to see. So first we had Benson Henderson do this guillotine. Somehow Islam gets out. Islam hits him with this nice slam. Just that Samba, I think it is. I wouldn't even say it's wrestling, but just what they do is so efficient, man. So he puts him on his back, gets him in a rear naked choke. Somehow Benson Henderson gets out. Benson Henderson then puts him in a nasty heel hook. Islam refuses to tap. So, that goes away. Islam then puts him in another rear naked choke. Like I said, it was wild. Like these two were just scrapping on the ground, but it wasn't like anybody could say it was boring. It was nonstop action on the ground, man. It was fantastic. I loved this fight, and the crowd loved it too. But on the third round, it looked like Islam was gonna pull away because he got a really clutch takedown on Benson Henderson. But there was still a lot of action on the ground. So it wasn't like he was dominating him on the ground. It was still a lot of movement and it still could have gone anybody's way. I mean, it was a great fight. Like the crowd was on their feet. We all loved their fight. But not even unfortunately, surprisingly though, Benson Henderson got the win in his hometown, Arizona. Crowd went crazy. It was a great, great fight. I'm so glad that he got the win, though. I'm a big fan of Benson Henderson. I always have been. So this was awesome. And I mean, he made this announcement, man. This may be his last fight. Man, what a career. I mean, I hope it's not, but if this is how it goes out, then I mean, what better way to go out than on that like that nice stride of a win, snapping that win that losing streak that you were on. You have your family there, your friends, everybody that supported you from jump, and you go out on your shield kinda. It was great. You know, I tip my hat off to you, Benson Henderson. If this is your last fight, this was a great last fight. So congratulations on an amazing career. Hope you don't retire though. Give us some more. Give us a few more. And then finally we had um the main event, the heavyweight world championship on the line. The champ Ryan Bader going against Valentine Moldovsky. Now, this fight was a big, big scrap, I gotta say. I mean, Ryan Bader, we know, has that explosiveness, has that power. And Moldovsky really took it to him for a while. Like he came out the aggressor and he learned a big lesson. As you can see, he got hit with a big right, shocked him, put him down for a second, but he was able to recover. So then you see Moldovsky kind of like take over on the ground game. I mean, he wasn't letting Bader up really. He did his best to keep the fight on the ground because I mean, Ryan Bader has so much power, man, but it's hard to keep him down. He hit him with some more good strikes. So it was a tale of, where is this fight going to go? Who's going to have the more dominant, who's going to keep it where they can be more dominant? That's really what the fight was trying to allude to, I guess I could say. Um, but Moldavsky, in the third or fourth round, I can't remember. He got hit with a nut shot, unfortunately. Like it wasn't anything too bad, but they were both able to like catch their breaths afterwards. They used most of the time. So it was a good way for them to keep the action going in the later rounds. But Moldavsky really came out and really tried to make this his fight. He's a wrestler. He tries to keep people on the ground, win by points in that way. And Bader was not trying to have it, man. I mean, would explode up, try to get some hits in, keep the score like, even pretty much. And Moldavsky just kept trying to take him down. And nothing wrong with that strategy. It works, man. Until that last round, we saw Ryan Bader show some dominant top game, I guess you could say, and he just, like, started putting it down on Moldavsky. I mean, it was raining down punches, and it was too late for really Moldavsky to do anything but survive, and I mean, it was still a great entertaining fight. I mean, like, it was neck and neck the whole way, very hard to determine who actually was the winner, so, they got another standing ovation. I still think that the Henderson and, Islam fight was the fight of the night, but this was really, really close to knocking that off, in my opinion. And then, like I said before, if you want to beat the champ, or if you want to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. And I don't think that Moldavsky did enough to beat him. And I think the refs agreed. So Ryan Bader came out retaining his championship, retaining his belt. I would love to see these guys go again, of course. It was just a fantastic fight. But, that was the event, man. It was great. I had a great time with it, but let's move on to our ratings, of course. So, we love to do our ratings system from 1 to 5. So 5 stars being fight forever, 4 stars, this is awesome, 3 stars, you still got it, 2 stars, what? And 1 star, boring, like, don't even watch. You'd have more fun watching me. But I would say this fight got, about 3.5 stars, I'd say. It was an impressive, showing, and I'm sad that it got overshadowed the way that it did, but, I mean, us fight fans, man, we're always hungry. We're gonna catch up, but I feel like this was a fight that should have been promoted a little bit harder and could have at least had a little bit more of a spotlight if it wasn't getting overshadowed by the colossal event that was Royal Rumble. But, I mean, it was some great fights. I think that the prelims kinda took the show. If it wasn't for the Henderson, Islam, and the Bader and Valentine fight, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as the prelims were, which is a strange thing to say. But man, these new guys are hungry, and I love hungry fighters because they fight the hardest, and you could see that. So I'm excited for what Bellator has in the future with these new guys. Please treat them well. They deserve it. This event was great. I can't wait to see what these new guys have in store. And again, congratulations to Benson Henderson on a great career. If he calls it quits, it was an amazing, I guess, years of watching him compete. Man, it was great. Ryan Bader is, of course, like he's proving every day why he's the champ. I don't know who can stop him, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. But man, that's all I got, man. I don't want to get too much further into it, but we have plenty more to watch in this next week coming up. So definitely tune in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more videos, more content. You can see me with my boys on the All Real crew, of course. We have that coming, and tonight we're actually gonna start our punishment for our boy Jamil, who actually lost in our pack watch prediction kind of thing that we got going on. So tune into our Instagram channel, like you see it on the bottom there. Tune into both of the Instagram channels there. You'll see what his punishment will be, and then you'll get to see what we do to him. So definitely tune in for that. But until next time, guys, this is T-John. Thank you for coming and tuning in with me for the In the Mix. But keep it real, guys. That's it.